Hey everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple with another YouTube demo for you today. I'm really excited to be bringing you dies by Spellbinders. We have their Edgeability dies and I really like them. I think for a edging die or a border die, they're probably the best out on the market today. We're also going to be working with Just Rite stamps, and the stamps we have today actually coordinate with the Spellbinder die, which is really nice. Then you don't have to freehand or fussy cut your stamp anymore. You've got the die to take care of it for you. So we're going to go ahead and tilt on down and get started for today. Okay, down we go. Bye. All right, that looks pretty good to me. How about you? Okay, so what we've got with today is our Spellbinders Edgeability dies. And each set you get 3 different dies. There they are. Today we're going to be working with the scallop die, which happens to coordinate with a Just Rite stamp. Now, Spellbinder dies are wafer dies, so they're a chemically etched die and they're very thin. They cut 2 sheets of paper without any problem. They cut a whole bunch of different types of materials, some foam, they cut some felt, so it's a great die and we really like it. The stamp that we're going to be working with today is Just Rite stamps, and this happens to be Classic Scallop Border 1, and as you can see, all the stamps have a scallop to them. And ooh, the Spellbinder die, sorry about that guys, the Spellbinder die fits right to each of the stamps, so it cuts perfectly. See how nice that is? Cuts perfectly. So you're no longer fussy cutting around the stamped image that you did to get a nice cut. You've got a die to take care of that for you. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is how easy these are to use. So I've got my piece of paper and I want to put a border at the bottom. I want to change this square piece of paper to have a cute little scalloped edge on the bottom. And it's just really simple to do. It will cut through both sheets of these paper, so you don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to bring over my trusty dusty Big Shot machine because we all know that the Sizzix Big Shot machine is our die cutting machine of choice here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. And I just want to show you, in case you're not familiar, real quick, on the multi-purpose platform that comes with the machine, it clearly shows that on this platform, with everything closed, wafer thin dies. So when you use this, you're going to use the entire platform completely closed, okay? Now I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put down my first clear plate. Then I'm going to take my paper, put it here, my die, put it on top of my paper, and at this point I'm going to line it up where I want it. Do I want it really close to the bottom? Where do I want my scallops to start and stop? And then I'm going to take a Post-it note. Just a simple, plain Post-it note, and I'm going to put it over my die, my paper, and onto my cutting pad. Do you see how I've done that? Just a simple Post-it note. And that's going to keep everything in place for me when I send it on through so it doesn't move around. Really easy, and that Post-it note can be used again and again and again. I'm going to put my last clear top plate in, and I'm going to send it on through. Okay, pull it off. Take off my Post-it note, take off my die, and there is my card with a cute little scallop on it. So easy to do. Now because the die does not have a finished edge on top, which means that they didn't square this off and make it a true border die, which would have a second cutting edge on top, I could have made my card this width, I could have made my card this width. It's really up to you how wide you want to make your card or your page that you're working on. And length, that's limitless. You could have a piece of paper 24 inches long, and you could continually line up your die and send it through your die cutting machine to make a border as long as you want. For the width, you're really only limited to how wide your machine is. And since we're using a Sizzix Big Shot, we're at about 6 inches. And that's the widest piece of paper we could use, but we could use a piece of paper that's 6 inches by 24 or 6 inches by 36 and just continually line up our border die to put a continuous edge on it. All right, so now I'm going to take and I'm going to do one more really quick. I have got my piece of paper here, just a plain piece of paper. I've got my multi-purpose platform completely closed. I've got my clear plate. I've got my piece of paper. I've got my edge die, my Spellbinder Edgeability die. I have got my Post-it note, and I'm just going to put it on down. Take my plate for the top and send it on through. So this time I'm not cutting a card, I'm just cutting a plain piece of paper. And there we go. Just a plain simple piece of paper. Now what I want to show you with this plain piece of paper is how wonderful the Spellbinder dies, the Just Rite stamps line up. So I've got these stamps right here. They are clear stamps. Some of the Just Rite stamps are clear, some of them are red rubber cling. Regardless, they will all work on your block beautifully. And we are using the Tim Holtz grid blocks. And I want to show you why we love the Tim Holtz grid blocks. This stamp has a straight edge to it. It's this stamp right here. Do you see how it has a straight edge to it? In fact, this one down here kind of has a straight edge to it as well, but this one up here, they both have a nice straight edge to it. If I was using a block that did not have grids on it, I would have no way to be sure if I'm a little out of alignment, if it's not perfectly straight. So with the grid block, I can see exactly a straight line and line up my stamp. And now I know that stamp is perfectly straight because I lined it straight up to the grid. Do that one more time for you so you can see that it's got a grid on it. I'm just going to take my stamp, put it down, and line it straight up to the grid. Now I'm ready to stamp. So I've got Memento ink for you today, and we are using the dewdrop size, which I absolutely love, but you need to know that Memento also comes in full size, it comes in pins, and it comes in re-inkers. So if you have a dewdrop size, you can get a re-inker for that dewdrop size and re-ink it when it gets dry. You don't have to buy a new one. And that re-inker will go for your full-size pad as well. So if you've got them, buy the re-inkers. You'll save yourself a lot of money in the long run. Okay, and we all know that we love Memento ink because it works great with Copic markers, it works great with any kind of paper. It's just one of the best multi-purpose inks out there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink up my stamp. And then we're going to stamp right on to our white piece of paper here. So I've got my scallop here. I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to line up the scallops from my stamp onto the scallop on my paper. And then I'm going to give it a good press down. And pull. And there we go. All lined up for you. So easy. And then when we're done, you just take a wet wipe, clean it off, pull it off your block, and you're ready to stamp with another one. So let's take another stamp off of our set here. I'm going to put this one right back on because it clings right back on. And I'll pull this one off. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at my grid on my Tim Holtz grid block stamps, or blocks. and I'm going to line it straight up with one of the lines on the grid. Then I'm going to take one of my colors of my Memento ink. I'm going to ink up my stamp really good. And I'm going to stamp it onto one of my scalloped pieces of paper. So I'll line up my scallop. Oh, I didn't get some ink right there. I can see it. Line up my scallop. And give a good press down. And then pull. There we go. And it's all lined up for you. No hand cutting, no fussy cutting needed anymore. Isn't that wonderful? Love it. Now, a lot of the Just Rite stamps do match with a lot of the coordinating Spellbinder dies. And they have an amazing catalog, Just Rite does, right here. And they give you wonderful ideas, but more importantly, they tell you what stamps match what Spellbinder die. Now, we did for a make and take in the store. I saw this catalog and I loved this little card here. And that's what we made in the store for one of the make and takes, which I have right here. And you open it up. Now, as you remember, to make a card, you hold the paper on the inside cutting edge of the die, and we used the Sizzix framelit ovals. We used the largest oval to make that card, and we just kind of slid the paper over so it didn't hit that last cutting edge, so we left a scoring edge there to make our card. But we used our Sizzix framelits for that. Let me show you some other samples that we did. Here's another one. And we put a doily here. We used the Sizzix flower. Let's see if I got one handy. We used the Sizzix 3D flower to do the felt right here. And then we made some other samples just to give you an idea of what you can do. So here is the Just Rite stamp in the purple and the Spellbinder scallop die cut. Ooh. Right there. Here is another sample where we put the scallop cut and the different stamps on the side of the card. And one more sample. Actually, there's two more real quick. Again, we layered the scallop and then stamped it. So there's 1, 2, 3 scallops here using the 3 different stamps that come with the set that we used today. And I love this one. Look at how cute is this. So we took, again, we die cut out the paper, stamped right on top of it, and then we took, and this time we did fussy cut, these little emblems inside the stamp. We fussy cutted those out and stamped them in a different color and then popped them on top of this card. And this time we used a Sizzix framelit, the square, to make this card. Very easy to do. So what did we learn today? We learned that Spellbinders has probably the very, very best edge dies or border dies on the market because they give you a lot of use, a lot of functionality. You're not limited to the width of the paper you can cut, except for with your machine. So if your machine will go to 12 inches, you can do a 12-inch edge on a piece of paper. Sizzix Big Shot, around 6 inches, but the length you can do endless. It can go forever. We learned that Just Rite stamps has coordinating stamps to go with the Spellbinder dies. So no more fussy cutting. You can cut your piece of paper with your Spellbinder die and then line it up with your Just Right stamp for an absolutely beautiful, beautiful finished product. We learned that Tim Holtz's blocks are some of the best that are available. They're thin, they're easy to use, they have the grid right on them so you can line it up when you want something straight. It makes it so easy. We also learned that Memento ink has dewdrop size, they have the full size, they have the pens, and they have the re-inker. And ideally, you want to have the re-inker if you've got the dewdrop or the full size. That way you never have to buy another pad again. You just re-ink it, and the re-inker goes a very long ways. We have all of it in stock. I will tell you, it is important to have the marker for any color you have in one of the pad sizes. And people say, well, why do I need that? Well, first off, if you make a little oops when you're stamping, you can go in with the marker and you can color in where there's a little bit of an open white space. And that's nice. That's easier to do than restamping sometimes. Also, it allows you to color just very specific points of your stamp. If you only wanted to have the little emblem in this one, we could color just the emblem. And that's a little harder to do with some of the ink pads because they're a little bit bigger. So the two sizes of pads and the marker along with the re-inker from Memento ink. And remember, Memento ink is what you want to use with your Copics. That's the best ink to use with your Copics. So I hope that you have learned something today. I'm just going to show this catalog one more time because I think Just Right did a really great job. It is available in our online store and in our retail store. All of the products that you've seen today, the Memento, the Just Right stamps, the Spellbinders, Edgeabilities, these will all be on sale for 15% off at scrapbooking-made-simple.com for 1 week after the original load date of this YouTube. So we'll have all the Edgeabilities on sale and all the Just Right stamps on sale and all the Memento ink on sale. So I'm going to tilt on up and I'm gonna say, hey, it was good being with you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I showed you some product that you were maybe familiar with or wanted to learn a little bit more about. So visit scrapbooking-made-simple.com and our blog is scrapbookingmadesimple.net. We hope to see you soon, okay? See you next time, bye.